Yo, what's going on, everybody? Jordan here, August 2nd, 2018. And let me tell you, this here video is going to be on Q update. And I was meaning to do this video last night, but I was sitting there just absolutely enthralled and caught up with all the segments on mainstream media talking about Q. I was watching NBC, I was watching CNN, I was watching the Today Show, and it was amazing. I mean, don't get me wrong, they were all absolutely horrible segments. Everything was misconstrued, all the facts and pieces of information they had was twisted ass backwards, but dude, it was just freaking fascinating and amazing to see it truly hitting the mainstream. But anyway, we're going to talk about that in a minute here. We're just going to go through Q's posts like I normally do for the last few days. And we're going to start with July 31st, actually, the post having to do with the Tampa rally. Now, before we get into the post, though, I just want to say one thing. Because Q is now seriously hitting the mainstream, right? If you are new to the subject, if you just happen to be perusing around the internet and you found my videos and now you're watching this, I just want to say, trust me, Q is absolutely real. I've been following it since the very beginning for 9 months now. And if you're just coming onto the topic and it seems crazy and you're like, what the heck's really going on? As you continue to delve deeper and do more research, connect your own dots, and don't let the mainstream media connect the dots for you. As you begin thinking for yourself, it will truly change your reality. It will change what you think reality is. Let me say it that way. Because we have been spoon-fed bullshit, and that is ending. People are waking up, and you will continue to wake up and see what the real world truly is. And it's amazing to see a lot of people doing that. And now concerning recent events, many more people are going to begin to do that. So in fact, I'll probably do another video just on the basics of it for people just getting into it now again. But anyway, let's go ahead and get into these posts. July 31st, start here. Like I said, Tampa rally. Donald Trump held a rally in Tampa Bay, Florida 2 days ago on the 31st. And as per usual, as Q is now doing, they're posting pictures from these rallies of supporters and events going on to show how real it truly is and that people are actually following it. So Q posts some pictures from the Tampa rally here. Great Awakening, beep boop, not a Russian bot. Whole family right there. We are Q shirts. And then Q says, how often does the presidential motorcade honk upon request? Here's a link to the YouTube video of the presidential motorcade honking at somebody that was holding up let me get that sign for you, honk for Q sign. And the motorcade legitimately honk honk as it drives by. That's not random. And that's not a coincidence. So trust me, again, if you're new to this, Q is very real. Q, for a one-sentence overview, Q is a group of military operators, military intelligence, people within the military, DOD, NSA structure that is working behind the scenes to take down the deep state and working with Trump as well. That's pretty much it. So, of course, it goes a lot deeper than that. And the last 9 months have just been, so many different connections and little tidbits to notice. But if you want a one-sentence overview, boom, that's it. So, presidential motorcade honks, try harder MSN, ask the Q. Ask the question to Donald Trump himself. We'll talk about that in a sec. Post 1776, a lot of people were excited about because 1776, America's birthday. And in post 1776 doesn't really let us down. What we get is a signature from Donald Trump himself with that executive order pen. And he writes number 1776. Now, a lot of people are thinking this picture is him signing some kind of executive order, but I think it's just written on a random piece of paper. This doesn't look like executive order paper to me because you can see the lines. So I think Trump just wrote his signature and wrote 1776, obviously as a message to us that he's following along. He's part of it, Boom, right there. Q then says, without the pen of the author of Common Sense, the sword of Washington would have been raised in vain, John Adams. And one note as well, Q capitalized Common Sense. A lot of people are looking into a company called Common Sense. that actually has some connections to many of these deep state members I have seen, possibly even the Clintons. I haven't delved too deep into that quite yet, but note there, if you want to do some digging, got some time on your hands. Post 1777, to the person holding the Q cutout, please post your pic or vid as the president specifically pointed at them moments ago. They'll scrub the web to find the source no matter where posted. So at that Tampa rally, somebody was holding up a Q cutout, president pointed directly at them. Let me show you the video here. And I'm going to reference my own Twitter for that, so check it out. Here's a slow video of it. Fist pump. He says, thank you, points right at that Q cutout. Plainly obvious. Almost as obvious as a few weeks ago at another rally, this one I think in Minnesota, where somebody had a Q shirt on. President comes out, points right at him. Confirmations. Post 1778, the world is about to change. It's pretty much it right there. And this was on the 31st, and then of course yesterday we had Q hit the mainstream in a serious way. So it's as if the Q group knew what was going to happen. And then right here, post 1779, and Anon just basically says that on 8chan, they're at 3,000 different threads now. Threads they call breads. 8chan nomenclature there. I love that community. Love all you guys that peruse the chans. Sometimes I hop on there. It gets addicting though, so I don't like to waste too much time with it. Q then says, congrats, gift. Tony Podesta, linking here this news article by CNBC about Tony Podesta, under investigation following special counsel referral. Let's check it out. Boom. Federal prosecutors said to be investigating lobbyist Tony Podesta after special counsel referral. So that special counsel was Mueller's office, referred Podesta to be investigated by federal prosecutors. Now, this kind of confirms a speculation I've had for a few months now that Robert Mueller has been running a sting op, has been actually working with the white hats in the alliance against the deep state. And I won't get too far into why and how and why I see things that way, but it just totally seems that way. Robert Mueller's a Marine. He met with Trump the day before taking the special counsel job, about taking the FBI director job, when they both knew, we all knew that Mueller couldn't take that FBI director job for various reasons. So it's as if that meeting was Trump saying, got a job for you. You want to clean yourself? Because Mueller's been, running around those deep state circles, probably like blackmailed or threatened to do those things, So Trump basically said, we'll cut the strings. We'll cut those strings if you work with us. And then Mueller took that special counsel job. And that special counsel, that Russia Investigation Council, has just been a smokescreen ever since. And it's supposed to be just pretty much distract people, make people realize that the whole Russia collusion stuff is bullshit. What a job, right? So that's how I see it. I see it as a sting operation. And this is a piece of evidence that sort of confirms that to myself. Another link here to the Wall Street Journal. And this one says, what are the FBI and CIA hiding? So the Wall Street Journal is basically saying that the CIA led the FBI along. It was John Brennan's fault that this whole phony Russia investigation got moving. And they're the ones that really fabricated this FISA dossier. And this is in the Wall Street, I keep wanting to say Washington, Wall Street Journal. And this is in the Wall Street Journal. So, mind you, interesting. We have mainstream media reporting on that. And then Q saying that they're waiting for the person with the Q cutout to post a pic or a video. And then it looks like they do right here. This person says they were a bit late, but they came. I mean, they posted on 8chan a picture of themselves. So that's awesome. And then Q says, we saw you, Patriots. God bless. So whoever is in or on that Q team, they follow the president around. Pictures at the events, honking in the motorcade right there. And then a few more posts about the events there. Now let's get into the mainstream media. So, of course, yesterday, QAnon everywhere. All the mockingbird media, the, puppet mainstream propaganda, deep state, bullshit, corporate media corporations, they all got their 4 a.m. talking points. and it was pretty obvious. It was like, hey, run this attack piece, call them deranged, call them conspiracy theorists, call it baseless. And here's only a small sample of all of the articles that were written: CNN, The Hill, Newsweek, Daily Mail, Rolling Stone, The Guardian, Washington Post, and then some more. Q says Twitter today releases ban. Okay, what does that mean? Well, here's a screenshot of the trends on Twitter. QAnon hitting number 17. What's the 17th letter of the alphabet? That's fitting. But QAnon finally shows up in the trending, which it should have for the last 8 months. It's absolutely had enough of a following to trend everywhere, but Twitter's been banning it. They've been shadow banning it, not letting it show up in the trending results. And Q says, Twitter today releases the ban. Why would they release the ban? Well, Twitter told to by the mainstream media to demonstrate impact. So right when the mainstream media publishes all their attack discrediting articles, they're going to release the ban, so then people can see, oh, now this QAnon, oh, it does exist. And then they click on it and then they read the mainstream media stuff. So it's kind of a classic psyop to funnel all these people into the mainstream media attack pieces. You see? Do you think they got the 4 a.m. memo? All for a conspiracy? Coincidence? Nope. And then this next post is very important. I want to make a note on it. Q says, you're now mainstream. Handle with care. And that's very important. Handle with care. Because we're going to have a lot of people begin to get into Q, what Q is, the connections, what's really going on, right? The Great Awakening. So we, as Q researchers, as people very familiar with the topic and people very, very familiar with the, quote, real world, what's actually going on, we're going to have to be very compassionate. We're going to have to be very understanding. We're going to get a lot of flack, a lot of people angry, a lot of people sad, a lot of people confused, right? So we're going to have to be very compassionate, very grounded, balanced in ourselves in these conversations and situations, and informative, right? So understand that. Handle with care. It's up to us now. We are the media, right? We are the mainstream. A couple of Anons on 8chan asked, estimate the number of patriots reached, and then right here it says worldwide, eyes on, 300 million. Tracking it, probably about 50 million, which even to me surprised me. I thought it would be a high number in the millions, but not that high, which is great. But it makes sense. I mean, I was getting 100,000 views a video back in December when I wasn't shadow banned and censored by YouTube and all that. And there's a lot of other Q research out there getting thousands and thousands and thousands of views and hits as well. So totally makes sense. And then this next question says, deletions a warning to Steyer. So just quick note on that. Q posted a article about Tom Steyer yesterday, a Breitbart article about Tom Steyer funneling a bunch of money into impeach Trump campaigns. Tom Steyer is a billionaire Democrat donor. And then Q then posted a couple of screenshots from Podesta's emails about Tom Steyer talking about walnut sauce and very deep, dark, heavy things, you know, very pedophile, weird-oriented stuff. But Q then said they essentially rushed that information out and they told us not to spread that information on Twitter or Facebook or whatnot because that would have got us banned and deleted. So Q says, Q basically warned us and said, we didn't mean to put that out too quick. Then here they say, you don't think common sense was simply a coincidence, did you? Remember the common sense that I mentioned earlier? Think email. Those emails they screenshotted, think 1776. But how did we know an article was going to be dropped later that night about Tom Steyer on Breitbart? Q has connections again. Post 1788, and Anon says, finally someone asked about Q, and this is in regards to the White House press briefing yesterday, where a reporter asked Sarah Sanders about Q. The reporter, word for word, said, does the president encourage the support of fringe groups such as QAnon or Blacks for Trump? Very shitty question. Blacks for Trump, a fringe group? Come on. And is, QAnon truly fringe when you have 50 to 300 million people watching it? But anyway, Sarah Sanders sort of played it off. Some people noticed like a little smirk she might have had. I didn't really see that, but she played off the question. She didn't say anything about Q, answer it. She basically just said, we don't want violence between anybody. We don't promote violence, and that's it. That's all she asked. She didn't say a thing about Q. And some people were let down by it, but Q gives us some understanding of that. They says, who is the one person who can answer? POTUS, the president. Then they say less than 10. That's in reference to one of the very first posts they ever made on 4chan back in November. Q said, of those, less than 10 people have the full picture of what's going on. Only 3 are non-military. So truly, the president is the only one that can answer who is Q. And that's what we need to stress. We need to ask him himself. Q clarifies on that. Mainstream equals when you are now the news. Mainstream equals when a White House pool reporter asks about Q. Mainstream equals when coordinated attacks, waves against you continue to occur. Game theory. Game theory. And then more mainstream media hit pieces, Axios, New York Times, Heavy.com, USA Today. And then the next post, Q says, did you notice that Fox News coverage of QAnon last night? Why isn't Fox News a part of the MSM coordinated blitz attack? Logical thinking. It's because of the president. It's because they know that the QAnon collective, us, we are such a huge group. We're not fringe at all. It's such a huge group that if they ran any kind of hit piece on QAnon, it would be a hit piece against the president, and they would alienate a massive part of their fan base. And they don't want to do that. So Fox News is kind of in this sticky situation there. And post 1792, what happens when you are a threat to the MSM, the old guard, we'll say old world order, not the new world order, old world order, this happens. Reddit gets hacked. Reddit announces a data breach that threatens the anonymity of users. A bunch of passwords and emails were yanked from Reddit. This surprises some people. I've actually never gone on Reddit, never signed up, never been a Redditor, so it doesn't affect me. But this is just smokescreen. I'm not worried. This is just to instill fear. As Q says here, threats, scare tactics deployed. Fear not. This is nothing. And then the last few posts that we have here. Juan on Fox talking about Q at a rally right after we mentioned Fox News. What a coincidence. Phishing is fun. And again, understand that everybody is watching these Q posts. All the bad guys, all the good guys, all the people in the media, you and I. There's so many people following this stuff. So all these things aren't coincidences at all. And then these last few posts talk about FISA. FISA, 20 public disclosure, impossible to defend. FISA was totally illegal. And again, as Q has been reiterating the past week or two, is that FISA starts to unravel it all. And FISA is crucial because it implicates so many different people. So many different bad guys that we want implicated. Clinton's, DNC, John McCain, some Republicans, a bunch of deep staters, people in the FBI, the CIA. So once FISA begins to start to unravel, then all the other layers of corruption can unravel and we can get into the deeper, more intense information to come out. I like this quote, never interfere with an enemy while he's in the process of destroying himself. There you go. And that's pretty much all to talk about here. This last post just says, welcome to the mainstream. We knew this day would come. Frankly, I'm surprised it took 9 months, honestly, but it's all, it's all according to plan. POTUS Twitter comments, glimpse of what to expect. I wonder what he might say about Q on Twitter, fake news worldwide, fake Make America Great Against supporters. There's going to be a lot of fake MAGA people who claim to be for the movement but subvert the narrative in subtle ways for their own particular self-agenda, right? Bandwagon shills. We've seen plenty of those kinds of people. Paid shills. It's quite obvious. You go onto blogs, YouTube videos, you'll see a lot of troll comments, shills under it. Media matters. A lot of them probably paid by them. Or they're just sitting in the CIA dungeon, CIA basement, like getting told what to write, who to write it on. MSM infiltration, Intel infiltration, Twitter bot attack. A lot of bots getting activated lately, especially. And then just all that stuff. So here we go, guys. It's about to get fun, truly. And again, let's be very careful with how we go about this. Let's continue pumping out that content. Let's make it very basic as well, because a lot of people are going to be new into this stuff. So let's keep it basic, show them the important things, but let's also wake them up to even things Q doesn't say. You know, Q is the how do I want to put this? The segue. They're the segue. They're opening up the door into understanding the political scene, the political corruption, and then we can just say, hey, it is everything. It's health corruption. It's, you know, they lie to us in the medical industry. They lie to us in the physics books. They lie to us with history. They lie to us with astrophysics and our own history, humanity, how we got here, cosmic origins, and all that stuff, you know? So this is going to get fun, guys. It truly is. I'm excited. You can just hear it in my voice, these videos that I'm doing the past few days. So let's continue this all. And again, thank all you for your support, your comments, your likes, your shares, your messages you send me. I get to as many of them as I can. Can't get to all of them, unfortunately. And thank all of you for your support too, your financial support, those of you that just send me mail with beautiful messages on it. I appreciate all of you. Done for this one.